Hey Rodney, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How about you, Rob?
I'm good. Just hopefully you can hear me well.
Yeah, I can hear you
Okay, good. How's things in Denver?
pretty good. We've had a wonderful fall. It's been reasonably warm, a little on the
Excellent.
dry side, but it's been nice.
Nice, nice. Yeah, they're calling for our first snowfall Tuesday, one Monday, something like that here. So it's yeah, our fall lasted about 3 weeks, and that was about it. I meant to ask you last month. Did you go to the RPM that was in Greeley there?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And
I thought about it a little bit, but somebody else had an operating session on the Saturday, and I wanted to do that instead.
gotcha.
And it seemed to be somewhat expensive too.
Yeah, I was um reading up on those because I didn't really know what they were until a few months ago, and I looked and yeah, they're pretty expensive to go to from what it looks like. I thought maybe since it was in your area that you might have went.
Yeah, I have some of my colleagues went, of course, and they said it was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it wasn't a disaster either. Um,
Hmm.
they were running three tracks on various topics. I think there's one on freelancing, one on prototype, and I forget what the third track was.
Yeah, I forget what it was. There was a podcast I listened to, and they were talking with the lady that runs the show, and she had mentioned it. But yeah, the freelance forum was a big thing, I guess. So, any new updates on the program at
No,
all? All quiet?
all quiet. Keep thinking about things I got to do. Just seems like the rest of life just keeps getting in the way.
Oh, I hear you. It's the same thing for Rodney, who I just see got on, and yeah, for me, and just like everybody else, there's so much going on right now.
Yeah,
Do
I
you hear
did
me
do a
okay?
follow
Or
up. You guys had talked about the string chart generators, and I looked at what I had, and I had a lot of trouble digging it up. Um, and I had one that I'd done, decades ago,
Mhm.
utilizing somebody else's layout. But and then I realized that what I was doing is I was going to take a different approach where I just stripped the data out and export it in a format that could be put into Excel. And you could do a string chart, then graph it that way. But since I've learned more about how Excel does diagramming, I said, nah, this isn't going to work.
Gotcha. I
can you hear
appreciate
me
you
okay?
looking into it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Kantorski. I got you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm always have screwed up trying to get this thing to turn on the microphone and that.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Rodney. How are you?
Good. How about you, Rodney?
Good, good, good. Did, Rob? Did we? I just came on. Obviously, did I miss anything or?
No, no, no. Just Rodney and I started talking a couple minutes ago. You didn't miss anything.
Okay, yeah, because uh, Rodney, we there was a thread. I don't know. You didn't bring it up yet, Rob, about the symbols, did you?
No, not yet. Nope, I was waiting for you.
Okay, hey, Rodney, there was a thread about, what would you say it was, Rob? About 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm looking at the thread right now. It's October 17th, 15th, 17th.
Okay, it went to do with tracking symbols on the board and where its position was on the block and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Recall it? Yeah. So we did a little experiment on our layout with the symbols because we haven't really monkeyed around with them much because we're not operating. And we noticed like a little issue where, and maybe you can explain this. I'll give you an example. A train goes into a siding to meet another train, and it's coming the opposite direction. what the symbol stays in the block, usually at the tail end of the block. That's fine, wherever it is. It's in the block though. But as the opposing train hits the interlocking where that current train is holding on the siding, both symbols jump into the interlocking at the same time. And it's like occupying the symbol occupies of the train that's standing, goes beyond the signal into the plant at the control point and stays there until the train departs, unless you drag it back and until you move the train out. Occasionally that lands right on top of a signal, and you can't really click on it unless you move the symbol back to clear the signal. Are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I got screenshots of this, Rodney
I
Black,
think,
if you want to see it.
no, I think I've heard of, I forget who somebody reported something like that. Um, and that it's that's a really tough question. Um, because of the way train tracking works. It's all very heuristic. It's almost intuition by how how the labels get moved. Um, it shouldn't. The one that's in the siding should remain there because the turnout should be lined against it to so it should remain there in the siding, for example. And I think there was a thread probably about a year ago in which we did that same discussion, and I can't tell you why that's happening. It may have okay because the algorithm is as soon as the control point gets occupied, cats will look at all the adjacent blocks and to see who's got a potential symbol in it that it can move into the newly occupied block. And I forget the exact details, but it's the algorithm is based upon which way the tracks are aligned. And I think even if there is a reservation, that you've got a route going through the block, it'll try to give priority to that. So it's really hard to see what happened, and a lot of it's based upon there could be things that are happening so fast we don't see them. Like for example, the occupancy, it flips on, then it flips off and back on so fast your eyes don't see it, but meanwhile the computer can track all that stuff. So I can't tell you why that's happening.
Okay, because it seems like what can I say? We had it to work, Rob. We got it to do it pretty consistently, right? But under certain
Yeah,
circumstances.
yeah, yeah. That's on a sim here at my house and at the actual layout. The results were the same.
Um, I talked to that Mark Samuelson who used to be with Lehigh and Keystone. He currently doesn't get to go there too much anymore because he works as a train dispatcher for shared assets in Lebanon, New Jersey. Is it Lebanon, Rob? I think that's where he's at.
Mount Union, I think it
No,
is.
Mount Laurel. Mount Laurel.
Mount Laurel, that's it. Yep.
That's it. But anyways, I talked to him about it, and he never recalled that happening before with the symbols on Lehigh and Keystone where it jumped ahead. He said the only time that would happen is he said if somebody shorted the layout out by derailment or whatever, the blocks would illuminate and all of a sudden the symbol would run ahead following it. So, but he said he always, if a train had to get talked by a signal, he remembers always having to move the symbol. And I don't know if that's happening now. I think if you run the signal, I think it follows it. I don't know if we tried it. Did we, Rob?
No, we didn't try that.
Okay, all right, but it's just an oddball thing, and we're wondering how to like circumvent it or whatever. Why, because sometimes it lands right on top of one of our signals, and I see a lot of the displays have signals all left-handed or at the bottom of the screen, while the symbols track on the top. Do you notice that a lot of people do that, Rodney? Or
Yeah, in
Some people,
fact, I encourage it. If you look at many of the prototype screens that I've seen, the signal icons are on the bottom just for that reason, so that the label doesn't sit on top of a signal.
okay, because out east here, like I noticed Lehigh Keystone, I saw screenshots of their panels, and they had them right-handed wherever they went. And out in the east, most all the machines I ever dealt with or saw always had them to the right. So it might be a west of the Mississippi type deal.
Yeah, could be. Yeah,
But
the thing that makes it this is it may be consistent on a particular control point, but it's not consistent across layouts because and it may be direction dependent. Um, in the sense that um, you may see it only on if the control point is on the left-hand side of a passing siding, or you may only see if it's on the right-hand side. It may depend upon which train gets to the control point first. So trying to catch exactly what's going on here, it's really tough because things are happening so quick.
understand, yeah, okay, because I was just wondering because you're not seeing it on other layouts or whatever. I mean, but we got it to happen at several control points up there.
Yeah, and they're always on the left-hand side.
Let's see. The signals are all. Let me see. What do you? We have all our signals on the right hand side everywhere, right, Rob?
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's
Here,
but it's both.
here's a picture of it. So I reversed my phone.
Um, do we get it either direction, Rob? It happens, right?
Yes.
Either direction. Okay.
No, I'm talking about not which way the signal's oriented, but which side of the passing siding the OS section is on.
Oh, yeah. It happens on both either end of the siding, either
Okay.
end, and it's. I think we've actually had it on the main there a few times. Where it jumped in. If a guy was going into the siding,
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
trying to
trying to bring up?
recall. I'm trying to flip my phone. Oh, there's the option. Okay, so here's that's the first picture of the sequence is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And now let me find the second one because okay, there you go. Let me turn the light off behind me. There, that's what it's doing, Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, that would be the third. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. After it goes by, the symbol stays there, as you can see on the right. And let's see. Yeah, then I line it out, and the symbol picks up. It takes it with it.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, it's fine. Like there's the rear end, and you can. Oh, there we go. Then let's see. Then the last one of the sequence. There you go. So it's just just that second picture I showed where it jumps in. Otherwise, it follows the symbol once it goes into the interlocking and out. I did try reversing the train in the siding, and the symbol stayed in the interlocking, and it did not go with the symbol.
Yeah, well, it the thing that triggers the movement of the signal is occupancy. So it doesn't matter
Right.
what you do with the signal icons, it's the occupancy that's going to move the symbol.
Okay.
So after it's in the you got control point, um, until one of the surrounding blocks becomes occupied, it's going to sit there in the control point.
Okay.
Okay. It just,
Yeah, I've stared at the code and I don't see a path that would do something like that, but clearly something is happening.
Okay.
well,
It's the only way we're gonna find it is if I could get the specific events and timing on them, because you'll find that other passing sightings on your layout, that won't happen. And so what's the difference between them? Beats me.
really. So,
Because like you
it,
say, it doesn't happen at everyone, right?
does it happen with ours, Rob?
Yeah, I only tried it at two of them, and it happened at both of them, but I did not. There's, well, let's see, like four more that we have active that I did not try it at. Nor did I try it on the double track either. But that shouldn't be a problem with that one. It's the other sightings I'd have to try.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously it's no big deal right now, especially, but
No,
we're just wondering,
no, Rodney, it was just something that what's his name, Daryl posted about, and I thought, oh, you know what, I should try that. We should test that because we hadn't really done anything with it, and then we find this kind of issue, so it was just something to bring to your attention. But obviously, you explained it pretty well on the thread. But
Mhm.
I was going to reply with the pictures I just showed you, and I still may do that just to put it out there, but. After talking with you here, it pretty much answered the question. So,
I mean, that's something like that would be really hard to track in a computer, wouldn't it? Too, right? What it's doing with that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I figured it would be.
yeah, I agree. Even if I had to trace items on, I mean, traffic sticks, CTC routes, code line traffic, signal icons. I mean, if I had them all checked and checking the system console, I still don't think you'd find it.
yeah.
I
Like I
really
say,
don't.
it's probably down in the microsecond range of events that are happening.
Right.
But it is interesting because if you can get it consistently at one point, I don't know what makes that one, control point or passing sighting or whatever unique from all the others.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, because you got it all in the designer, you got it all basically the same way, right, Rob? But more or
Yeah,
less.
yeah, they're all set up the same. Hmm.
That's interesting. It's crazy how computer stuff works like that, just little things. But Rob, you did play around with the other thing you were going to tell Rodney. What was it?
Oh, train stat. Yeah, I've just been dabbling in that after we talked about it last month. And it's something that I haven't fully jumped into. We don't need to right now, but I'm sure when we get to the point that when the CTC's on and we get the multiple monitors set up working, we'll definitely be using it for sure. It does have a lot of nice features on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing we did, what we discussed it in this group before, which is really nothing to do with cats, but where we've been putting resistor wheel sets together, testing that, and we've been coming out pretty good. I'm actually using a nickel-based paint from an MG Chemicals company in Canada that obviously it's a little pricey, but it seems to be working real well. And we've been putting a 22K resistor on every axle of the car. So that seems to work pretty good.
Okay, you say that was nickel based from where?
It's called MG Chemicals. MG Chemicals.
MG Chemicals.
And it works really good. You got obviously you got to stir it up or shake it up real good. The original one we seen was in a uh, in a pen, like a laundry marking pen,
Mm-hmm.
where you squeeze it, and it was a little trouble applying it because the tip of the pen has to, or it's actually a paint pen or whatever, has to be pressed into it. You can't really do that with the resistor and all that without just the way nature of it. So I looked it up and I looked up their website and I found it on eBay. It's MG Chemicals. The number is 841 AR Super Shield Nickel Conductive Paint, and a bottle of it, which is, yeah, it's, I don't know how many. I think it's 55 milliliters, whatever that is, like around 4 or 5 ounces of paint was $45 to get that. But it seems to be working real good though.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's better than the carbon-based stuff like the paste and that. We had all kinds of issues with that, the carbon-based stuff. So I like I like this so far, at least.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I ask is because I was working on helping out on the work session on the Kranich this afternoon, and they've got there's a triple-headed mast, and this is N scale,
Okay.
which somebody has bumped it, and so the top two heads have very loose connections, and it appears to be the ground is the mast, and so the individual LEDs have a magnet wire going up to them through the center of the mast. And we think that what we need to do is put just a speck of glue on the mast to hold the top two heads down to the lower piece of the mast and be conductive. And so we're kind of looking around what kind of glue or paint or whatever we could use to do that. And we want to make sure that it doesn't seep into the interior of the mast because we could get a short then. So it's a very fine operation.
Holy macro, N scale?
Oh yeah,
Oh, oh my. I end up going crazy. It's bad enough in HO of working on signals and all that, much less N. Oh my God.
yeah. Well, we've got half the layout is working semaphores using tortoises to raise and lower the blades, and that's even worse because you have to have a wire mechanism, and then we've some of them are the goalpost style, where you've got a single post in the center, and it breaks out like a goalpost into two uprights, and there are semaphores on each of the uprights.
Yeah. And you got semaphores on each one of them, like a bracket mast, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And how the hell do you do? I mean, what are the wires exposed to the air going straight up and down to the, how do you do that?
I'd have to look at it again, but I'm pretty sure he ran them up through the mast itself, up through the post.
Good Lord.
Well,
I
but
mean,
if you think about it, um, it's a leverage action because the pivot is not centered on the blade. The pivot point is on one end of the blade, and on the other side of on the really the end of the blade is where the wire goes up that moves it. So you only have to move the blade a smidge to get the other end to move a lot because of the multiplication factor of where the pivot is.
oh, okay, I see. I get that, but how do you get a tortoise to display like it's either, you would think it'd be one way or the other, either straight up and down for clear or horizontal for stop. But how do you get it to stop at a diagonal for an approach or yellow?
Actually, yeah, actually, it's quite simple. We used SCHCs from Digitrax, and the SCHC has a semaphore method, semaphore thing in it, setting. And I think what it does is you have to hook up. How's that work? You have to, and it's used with the tortoise. The tortoise has the double throw, double pull on the bottom, you
Right,
know. And so I think what the SCHC does is you hook up the feedback switch on the bottom of the tortoise to the SCHC, and then it watches. So when one side of the double pull double throw is activated, it knows that the semaphore is up or down, And when the other side is activated, it knows that it's went up and or down. And when neither of them is activated, it knows it's in the center, which would be the diagonal.
And it stops the motor right there then?
Yep, that's what it does.
Oh my God. I mean, it would just seem to me like the adjustment would be hard to get that diagonal to be consistent in the same spot. And I get, wow, though, that's a lot of,
And you're absolutely right, it is. And that's part of the problem we have with them. The
because
other part of the problem is that if you've got excuse me, if you've got a single semaphore on a single mast, it's not too bad. But if you have two blades on a mast, then the wires will start interfering with each other.
and it's an N scale too.
And yeah, it's all in N scale.
I'd be afraid to operate on that railroad because you'd bump into the thing and destroy that but so easily. I mean, it's oh boy.
Yeah, some of them have been bumped more than once.
We have a method on our layout there, our buddies layout that we're working on. That when we put signals by the aisleways, I see a lot of people put up plexiglass or whatever to protect the signal. What we've done is we get uh, mounted the base to magnets, and it
Hmm.
works like a champ. You knock them over, and they go. If somebody hits them, they knock right over, and you can just set them right back up, no problem at all.
Yep, I've seen the same thing on other layouts. Yeah,
Yeah,
particularly for things like flagpoles and windsocks and stuff like that. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
yeah, and you just have a little bit of signal lead on the bottom, so it doesn't, so it's got some flexibility, and the signal knocks right over, and you just pick it right back up.
Yep.
We've had no problem with that. But we were talking about the signals. Rob, I didn't tell you this after I talked to you earlier. You're still here, right, Rob?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And you probably remember this guy, Rodney. It's Nick Enchant called me. Do you remember that name? Nicholas Enchant?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he called me on the phone, and he's working on a layout down at where he lives towards Philadelphia down there. And he was had a just a couple minor questions about LCC things that we've done on our layout, and he of course is getting it ready with cats using the hold feature and that. But that whole railroad that he's dealing with is almost all B&O CPLs, position light, color position light CPLs,
Hmm.
and it's so he's been working on that. So he's still doing this stuff, but he's always very busy. It's hard to get hooked up with that guy.
Yeah. Well, actually, the CPL is just a, shall we say, a minor complication because what you do is you can hook up multiple LEDs to your driver that drives
Right.
the LEDs, and so I mean it from the computer's point of view, you're not turning on individual LEDs. What you're doing is, you're just setting an aspect, which basically turns on one driver, and that one driver then fans out and turns on the multiple LEDs.
I gotcha. Okay. I gotcha.
So, at first glance, you say, man, that's going to be really complicated. But if you think about how to wire the thing, it's not nearly that bad.
Yeah, look at what you had to do
Yeah.
for the PR position light rod.
Yeah, where we hooked up the lights all to one lead, yeah, for what it is, right?
Yeah.
We have one at that interlocking that we showed you there, the previous call or call before that, where the diamond is going across. And that particular one there has a position light signal going across the diamond, and we had three lights that show the restricting, and you just hook it up into one lead, and they all three light up. So it's not that complicated, like you said.
Uh-huh.
B&O CPLs though, they got those oddball lights on different areas. I never liked those signals, to be quite honest with you. But it's like it's a totally own system. It's very weird to me. I'm
Uh-huh.
sure I'm sure I could figure it out if I had to use it, but um, Yeah. So, but did, Rodney, did you ever is did you ever think of going to Springfield, Massachusetts for the Amherst Model Railroad Show, or it's just too far out of your way, right?
You know that this day and age, that's kind of like, um, was it Mecca? You know, that is the place you got to go. So yeah, the thought has occurred to me. I've had several other friends who've been out there. Um, the thing about Amherst is that, you know, it's January and you could have a nice day. You could also have, you know, 6 inches of ice as well. It's a total crapshoot what the weather's going to be like.
Yep. It's the one thing we don't like about that show is exactly that, Rodney. You're spot on
Yep.
about that. Yep.
If
Because 3 years ago, I think it was now, they had a nor'easter and we were already there, but it snowed like 18 inches. Everybody at the show was the out of towners, and
Hmm.
they had hotel rooms and whatnot. But yeah, most years though, I mean, we've had real good luck. I remember, I think last year it was sunny and 45, 50 degrees out the day of the show. We've had ones where it's been 10 degrees out there.
Yep.
So yeah, I totally understand. It's the only thing that we worry about before we go every year is just the weather. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it is amazing though how big that show has gotten. I first went in 2006, and it was 2.5 buildings then, 2 3/4, and I mean now it's four, and it's just crazy how big it is. But
Well, do you guys are you just attendees or do you have booths or anything?
no, we're just all attendees,
Yeah,
and
when I was working at Intermountain Railway here in Longmont, they would go send a crew out every year, and I'd get the stories back from them about trying to drive from the hotel to the venue and with ice and couldn't see out the front window and
yeah.
stuff. And
And Rodney, it's not even just that, it's the traffic. I mean,
yeah,
the number of people is unbelievable. We try to get there, what, Cantorski, half hour
yeah,
early, thereabouts.
yeah,
And I mean, it's the lines, hundreds long to getting in there, getting
it's
tickets and
just
whatnot.
it's absolutely incredible though. I mean, we schedule it. We have everything like on our friend who owns the model railroad does all the coordinating for the rooms, the rental car, whatever we got to do, and we have it set up so we can cancel it right up to like 24 hours before based on the weather, which kind of sucks because of course we got to drive from Buffalo and we go east to Springfield, which is 400 miles for us to go one way. Now that's not too bad if the weather's okay, it's fine. And most of the time we've been pretty fortunate that you it's the weather's been pretty good, when you get there okay, no problem.
Yep,
yeah,
it was just that 1 year, Rod, when we had the nor'easter.
Yeah,
That was the only bad one we've had.
yeah, that was really the rest of them were really pretty good. Usually we go out there a day early and we go somewhere to rail fan.
Yeah, it's quite the happening. I mean, we would love to see you there, Rodney.
Yeah.
Just to meet face to face.
sure.
It would be fantastic. And obviously, like Ken Cameron's there, Dick Bronson's there. Everybody's there. It's
Well, Kirkpatrick lives lives in your town, right, Rodney?
Detlef. I think I remember looking up Detlef's address because he's on Opsig, Rod, and I think he's like a half hour from where Rodney Black is, something like that.
Yeah, he's in Aurora, so
Yes.
it's if I take the city streets, it's close to an hour.
Okay.
But if you take the tollway, it's closer to a half hour.
Okay. That's what I thought. He's like on the other side of town from where you are.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember talking with him and I mentioned your name. He said, "Oh yeah, he lives at like you said, about a half hour away, 40 minutes, something like that." Real nice guy though.
Yeah.
He was a huge help in getting us started in LCC.
Oh, good.
He is he did a series on YouTube about doing LCC stuff, and it helped a lot. He's helped a lot of people out with that. But yeah, he's with like MRH, I think it is.
MRC maybe?
Yeah, maybe it's MRC, I forget. But yeah, he's at one of the tables. He started going, I think, in 2023. Because I remember we talked with him then.
But Rodney, the amount of products there is mesmerizing, and the people, we just go there. You run into so many people you talk to. It's crazy the amount of stuff. I mean, just everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all top of the line. It's all actually the actual producers or whatever, the companies themselves. There's people that have their own tables, but it's quite pricey, I guess, to get a table there. It's not. There's really not much. There's hardly any riffraff junk or any. There's really none, right, Rob? It's all trade.
No, all the big names in there. I mean, like even Spring Creek, one from Nebraska, they started going maybe 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 years ago, and they got like a third of a whole building, because of how big their displays. They have like 15, 20 people there. And it's crazy what they have. But yeah, there's a number of vendors like that. But yeah, all the factories are there, and everybody's releasing products. Every hour you check your phone, and somebody's releasing this or announcing that. It's a whirlwind that whole weekend. You got to take a couple days to relax afterwards and breathe, and just with all the new announcements and everything. But yeah, if you ever get the chance to go, Rodney, it'd be awesome to meet you face to face.
Mm-hmm.
For
Sure.
sure.
I see your brother's on here, but it looks like he's got a still shot for himself. Unless he doesn't blink his eyes at all.
It's a still shot.
Yeah, it's certainly a still shot.
Um,
I forgot all about this meeting until I came up out of the basement. I was working on things. So anyway, always glad to listen to you guys.
How's your LCC going on, Steve?
Steve, have you ever? Yeah.
The LCC's really doing pretty good. I made some changes to the signals, like going into the yard. I had to find the yard late as a siding, and then I decided, well, that's ridiculous. So just change it to yard. No, it's going along pretty good. I had a weird problem. I used one node, a tower node.
Mm-hmm.
It senses, okay, when you turn power on to the layout, it waits until it gets the power okay vent.
Mm-hmm.
Or power.
Yeah, it's like the first event ID in the CDI up at the top. Yeah.
Yep. And when it receives that, then it sets a 20-second timer. And then after the timer times out, then it turns on the 12-volt DC power supply to the tortoise bus that runs around the layout. So, because I didn't like the turnouts switching back and forth until LCC, did all of its preliminary initialization and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also use it to set all the signal lamps to dark and then all to red, and then I free them up to show after the turnouts are set and the DC voltage is on to the tortoises, and they've moved. Then the signal lamps look like what they should be. But the problem is that I was changing values in the CDI on this node, and it wasn't changing anything. So I ended up, you know how you can hold down the blue button and reset the node?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I had to do that. And then I reloaded, the CV value or the CDI file from
Mm-hmm.
file
text file.
And that worked.
Good.
But it was weird that I could, in the CDI, I could change stuff, and it showed that it had been changed, but yet it didn't reflect, um, real time.
Did
And
you save changes, then hit refresh or
yeah,
restart?
yeah,
Okay.
it
Wow,
it
that's interesting.
it was weird. That's the
Now,
first time
well,
I've
wait a minute, Rob.
What's
Well,
that, Roddy?
so Steve, I'm just saying the signals are not, obviously it could be a problem like we had, Rob, when we did the cut-ins, where we didn't, you got to reboot all the nodes that are connected to it to resequence them. I mean, or turn the whole system off and turn it back on. Remember we had that problem, and then where, they weren't talking right between zone 1B and 1C for us.
Yeah, no,
And
I just did the same thing earlier this week when I redid the event IDs, Rod, and had that. And what I did was I flipped it between ABS to CTC and back to ABS, and that seemed to clear everything up.
but I'm talking about just one node that controls what it, as it powers up, it sends out an NMRA member number event ID.
Right.
Like one says, okay, here's this event ID. Now all the turnouts get lined up for the main line.
Mm-hmm.
Another one says, okay, set all signals dark, and all that worked, except it was on the power up. Instead of sitting there for 20 seconds, 2 seconds after it got the node power okay, then it was switching, as ignoring the delay of the 22nd. And that's why, after messing with, powering things down, powering them back up, even isolated that node to just itself, I just decided to reset the firmware. You hold the blue button down for what, 10,
Right.
10 15 right. seconds, and a reset, and then reloaded the CDI. And then since then, it's been working.
Good. Yeah,
Well,
I'm looking at our conditions. Rod, it almost sounds like the issue we had with the button before we got that set. Remember, we were putting delays in and it wouldn't work. It almost sounds something like that.
Yeah,
right.
the delays is tricky. What I found, you can't use the second function. When you said delay, you have to use the milliseconds.
Correct. That's what we found out too. That was the same
Okay.
issue.
Yeah, and I think our circuits finally said, yeah, don't use the seconds, use the milliseconds, because I struggled with that initially by trying to set things to seconds. Once I switched to milliseconds, it worked a lot better. And then also the logic in the logic delay versus the line delay, one works a heck of a lot better than the other. And
yes, Steve, that was the issue we had. We were trying to do it through the IO and it wasn't working right. We did it through the logic, and that's when it worked.
Yeah, that's quite true too. So
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, it took a little trial and error to figure that one out.
Yeah, some head scratching.
Yep.
And wondering what's going on.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were doing. We weren't sure how to go about it, but yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah. Do you have any of the newer towers or signals with the Q logic?
No, we bought all of our single LCCs in almost all of them in 2023. So it was before the Qs came out.
Well, are the old towers, which I have, and the old signals still available? I didn't see them on his.
He doesn't have them on there. Let me check the website.
Yeah, you got a website there?
Be surprised if he didn't.
No, he's got to still have that, right? Unless he's out.
I would think so.
Because isn't it only the only three specific LCC products? You got the signal, the tower, and the tower Q right now, really?
Wow. Yeah. No, Steve's right. I'm on the site underneath products, and the tower LCC, the regular one's not on there.
What about the signal?
The signal LCCs are the S and the P. Obviously, we use S, and 32H one is just above it. But yeah, so they're all on there, but the tower LCC plus Q is on there. That's it, not the regular one.
Yeah, and I would imagine after he sells off the old signals, they won't be on there either. Because I was thinking about buying one or two extra, um, looking down the years
Yeah.
to come, what happens.
Well, there's something to put down right away, Robin, in your notes on the phone for Springfield to talk to Dick about. Something's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely, I'll put that in my notes. Hmm.
Yeah, like Rodney, we go to Springfield, we always have a list of questions for different people. Usually a lot of it is directed to all the signal stuff, either Ken Cameron or Dick Bronson and all that.
Yeah, well, it's a good time. You got their ear.
Yeah. Well, this just surprised me. Unless this Tower Q that one Rob is just he's setting up so it can do either function. You know what I'm saying? And they just consolidated it.
It's a possibility. I mean, he hasn't mentioned anything about it as far as I know, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah, because it's when it comes to the old towers, I never paid attention, Rob. Does it just have the same amount of the 32 conditionals in there, or is it the same or no
Yeah, I
change?
believe it is. Yeah. Now, if I go to the order page, the tower LCC does show on there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But does it
It's
show as one of the products listed?
correct. If you go under products, it doesn't show it.
Okay. That's
Well,
odd.
the Q model definitely is more efficient, and you can do a lot more logic. It's just I don't have any, and I really don't want to teach myself the Q logic if I don't have to.
Yeah.
At this,
Yeah, we're the same way.
because yeah. Anyway,
I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll ask them, and I'm just curious what the deal is because I guess I could go to eBay and try to find some used units, but I was just looking for backup units.
right.
That's
No, you want to do what we did. We ordered one extra signal LCC back in 2023 just in case.
yeah. Actually, I have one and two signals that when I go to develop something, I have them on my workbench and play with them, and then figure out how I want to do things. But
Yeah.
I would feel more comfortable with another tower LCC available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
do you, Steve? We were talking to Rodney there when you came out about Springfield. Do you ever go to Springfield? Because you're out where in Indiana, is it or
Oh, Iowa. In
Iowa? Oh,
Iowa. Yeah. Springfield is a pretty good trip yet for me,
yeah,
but
no, that's still pretty good haul for you. You know, I mean,
yeah. I know that's a big show. Uh, did anybody go to Train Fest?
And Milwaukee, no.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think it's. I used to go to Train Fest in Milwaukee because they had a lot of seminars and learned a lot from those seminars. But I don't know that they had any this, a couple of weeks ago or last week or whenever it was. Yeah, Springfield would be a big show.
yeah, it's huge. So
Yeah, you know what's weird, Rod? You go on the main page for our circuits and it doesn't have the regular tower LCC on there. The plus Q is, but not the regular one.
Yeah.
but the signal LCC is still there.
Correct.
Yeah, because that's an entirely different function with the signal LCC. That's
Right. Yeah, it's something I already put in my notes to ask Dick about that. And it's a good question, Steve. I'm going to ask him about if when he sold all the signal LCC, is that going to be it? Is it just going to be the 32H from that point? It's a good question. I never have considered that.
Well, like I said, I'm curious too, because, I've got like, it's a small layout. There's 16 nodes,
Mhm.
more towers and signals, but yet I'd hate to have to try to replace them with something else at this point.
Right. Right.
What do you got the towers doing? What do you have them driving? Anyways, just obviously you don't drive signals with them. You're doing something else with it, right?
Yeah, I do drive signals with them. I use the logic to drive a signal LCC board. And
Right.
in some cases, using the logic on the tower is easier than the logic on the signal. Because
Okay.
I use the track circuits, incoming track circuit, and then set a track circuit for the outgoing. But mainly what I use uh, around the layout, I've taken the breadboards that you buy from Spark Fun or anyway, there's push buttons, and like everything's set up for ladder arrangement. If the ladder has 6 turnouts, there'll be 7 push buttons. And then what I do, if there's a loco sitting on the turnout because it's detected, you can't throw the turnout.
Okay.
And when you push the button in, it locks any other buttons from being pressed.
And that's all the logic in the tower.
Yep. So by using the veto function. So when you press the first button, you can press all the other buttons and nothing's going to happen because they're vetoed. And then when you release the button, then it fires the turnout. And then if there's cascading, it goes down the line, one turnout at a time, so they don't throw all at the same time.
Oh, you got it set up for one turnout at the time. Same. Okay.
Yeah, because the button that I released fires that, and then there's also once you release the button, there's a 5-second timer that holds veto on until so that all the turnouts are lined up, and then it releases the veto, so then you can change.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're doing. Okay.
And it also, when you press the button in, um, the signals for that control point all go to red. And then after the veto is removed, the red is removed, so they go back to whatever they should be.
Okay, because your switches are all in transit. Okay.
Right, because switches are in transit, so um, they're red at that control point until the veto is taken off. And the veto I've found set for 5 seconds, but not only when you press the button in, nothing works except the veto's on. When you release it, I have a program to wait 1 second, then throw a turnout, and then wait another second, throw the next turnout in the cascade if it needs to be done.
Okay.
That's
But you're worried.
yeah.
You're really you're concerned about all them tortoises going at once. They really don't draw that much current. I
No,
mean,
because it seemed, as I remember watching the yards, real railroad yards, they don't all throw at the same time. Like even in a crossover on the Santa Fe, one would throw, then the next one would throw.
oh, really? Okay, yeah. On the main line out here in the NYC side, it's they both go over. You see them all going at the same time.
Oh, you do? Well, back when in the 90s, I'm pretty sure one would go and then the next one would go. And that's what I was trying to replicate.
Oh, you're trying to duplicate. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because I have a 5 amp power supply to all the tortoises. There's plenty of power. I just want to duplicate as I remembered turnouts being thrown in the yard or on the main line.
I got you. Okay,
And,
that's cool.
yeah, it took a while to get it all figured out. And of course, anything with LCC better have a spreadsheet because, and I write all that stuff down. So I, process and ordering system and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, organization's the key there, Steve.
Boy, it is when it comes to LCC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole series of spreadsheets and whatnot to have everything organized. And if Kantorski asks me for something, I can find it, really fast because it's having it organized that way.
Yeah, I set up my spreadsheet by modules. I have 8 modules, and so that I can, and the nodes are called that. Like each node is M for module 0 through 8.
Okay.
And then TA for tower A and TB for tower B node. And that's the way I've gone.
Yeah.
Just identify those. But
right. For us, it's just I have it identified by what signal masts are on each signal LCC. That's the way I can identify it. Yeah,
that would probably make more sense. I've been working on this for 6-7 years, and I got started and kind of kept with the old way of doing things at this point. But keeping spreadsheets is pretty important.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Oh boy, I don't know what you do without them. Holy Christmas!
Yeah. Well, have you tried the LCC Pro that JMRI, is now has? Like
yes. Yeah. It's actually somebody to Rodney Black. That is. I updated the 5.12 and everything's working well there. I had no issues running cats with 5.12. Just to give you feedback on it, because last month I didn't have it upgraded yet. So just want to let you know that.
So what version of Javelin are you using? 17?
No, I'm on 11.
Oh, you're on 11. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably could upgrade it to 17, but I have it at 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that LCC Pro is pretty nice.
Well, it is when you do the discovery and it finds all the events.
The event table. Yeah, that's a really nice feature.
Well, except I end up erasing it a lot of times because if I go and change things, it wants to show me the old event.
Yeah, I've noticed that,
and that's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go in and erase that file, that XML file,
right,
and then when I'm done, rebuild it.
Yeah.
You ever have a problem where you go in the CDI and you open a node and doesn't open completely, and then it wants to save? But usually what happens on mine, it changes the name of the node. Like let's say the node name is M0TA for my power on node. It'll add another M0TA to the name and it wants me to save it.
No, I've never had that.
Okay, I just curious because if you open it, sometimes it takes a long time, and then it leaves. You'll have many windows. I'm probably not saying many frames. Normally once it loads and everything's fine, you don't have a lot of frames. You just have the main, line after line of the frame. But I've had it where it doesn't load totally, and then that's when it changes the very first configuration, which is the name of the node. It just adds to it. I just wondered if you'd had seen it?
No, I never seen that issue before.
Okay.
That's really weird to be. We never seen anything like that at all, right, Ron?
Mm-mm. No, nothing like that.
Okay. And I assume you've got a lot more nodes than I do.
Let's see. Right now, there's 22.
Yeah. So we're almost. I'm about
Yeah,
to.
we're comparable.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things I did, you know, Kent or Dick finally admitted that those kits he was sending out with the wall power supply,
Yeah.
some were very slow firing up,
Hmm.
coming up the voltage. So anyway, I got a 15-volt 5 amp power supply, and that powers up all my nodes now.
Hmm.
Well,
And that's taking care of some problems.
where's your? But the PowerPoints, you don't have them spread out over the whole over the whole.
Yeah,
line?
I do, and they're fed off of this 15-volt bus that goes around the layout.
Oh, okay. Instead of having the little transformers,
Yeah,
we haven't.
instead of having the little transformers, uh, and I checked with Dick, through emails about this, and so I just have one 5-volt and 5 amp, 15-volt power supply that turns on all the nodes. So, you've got those little barrel connectors at each
Right.
point. Those just go over and feed off the 15-volt power supply.
Okay. So you just feed it off of that instead. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry about the wall plug-in power supply. Is it a good one or is it a bad one? Doing that.
Only problem we had with the plug-in supplies one time was one of the transformers had it was a defective plug on it. It wasn't seated right. I had to cut off some of the plastic to get it to seat right, and it works fine now. I didn't have to. That was the only problem we had with the equipment at all. And it was nothing major.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure it out though, because I was plugging it in, it still get plugged in, but it wasn't making the whole connection. I'm going crazy, wondering what's wrong, and I'm in a panic mode, like something like I got to tear the thing apart or something. And then finally, I was swapping it with other power supplies, and then I figured it out. I says, "Wait a minute, it's working here and not working there," and I figured it out.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the other day I hooked a bench power supply, adjustable where you can adjust the current and the voltage. And I replaced my 5 amp 15-volt power supply with this so I could get some measurements. With the layout is running, the 15-volt DC power supply is a 0.5 amp. It is what just supplying all the LCC nodes.
Okay.
So, and then I went through and put disconnected the Cat5 cabling and put the terminators on and checked each set of power nodes to see what the amperage was, and got a pretty good idea what's going on that way. But anyway, it was interesting. I didn't know how much power was being consumed by the LCC nodes, and total is 0.5 amp.
Right. It's well, knock on wood, we haven't had really any problems like that at all. So
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that's one thing I did to make my layout more reliable was get rid of those wall power supplies and just get a big 5 amp one. The brick. I don't know what they call those. You just got the one power cable. Your AC power cable goes in one end and out the other is 15 volts, 5 amps. So
okay. No. And where'd you get that power supply from?
Oh, Amazon. You go and look for one that is protected, CE listed and all that kind of stuff. But
Okay.
they don't run very much money.
Right. Okay.
UL listed, had to be UL listed and CE certified, and I forget what. There's a certain brand that, reading through reviews, people seem to like. So I got a 12 volt for the tortoises and a 15 volt for the LCC stuff.
It's just power supply, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Maybe I can find in my Amazon list of what I got here. Da, 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 da. Looked like we got somebody new coming in.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Looks like their camera's partly working.
Working on it.
So I'm looking at Amazon. Basically, what I purchased August 2023 is a 15 volt 5 amp power supply, 75 watt universal adapter compatible, for $23.60 is what it's.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And like, then I also got a 12 volt one for the tortoises. It just made a lot more sense.
Oh, okay. That might be good to know because I might need something like that on our layout with
Yeah, you just run a 15 volt bus and then tap off of that to your power, to the LCC power nodes. Yeah.
Gotcha. I heard a dog bark in the background there.
Sorry,
Okay.
took care of it. I'm still having a login problem, so bear with me. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay. Okay.
Can I do a photo, send you a photo? Yeah.
I don't think Chad will take photos.
Well, take photos.
You can,
Rated.
Is this for the power supply, Steve?
Yeah, I was going to show you that in the NCE equipment.
Thursday.
Here. Okay.
What's the name of it on Amazon, Steve?
It is, just search for 15 space VDC space 5 amp power supply, and you'll, the one I bought is brand name. You came from, it says visit the COLM store.
Yeah, I see when it's $23.60. It might be the ones you got then.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know. Is it just it's just a box with a plug and an output? That's it?
Correct.
Yeah, it comes with the barrel plug, but I cut the barrel plug off and hooked it to bus wire that runs around, 2 wires. I think
How
they're
many amps? How many amps is that?
5 amp.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they've really got these power supplies down pretty cheap anymore like that.
Rob, what I'm thinking about is that right yard there with we got that old MRC transformer underneath there supplying the power to the switches and all that. I'm just thinking eventually I need something like that,
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm gonna send it over to you there, Rodney.
Yeah,
I'm
just gonna take
I'm gonna text it to you.
You know,
All right,
one other thing you might look at is getting a higher voltage one, 16 volt or 17. The reason being in the LCC.io group the other day, somebody mentioned that you really should have a full wave rectifier bridge on your layout so that if you accidentally hook up the power leads from this brick backwards, it's not going to take everything out.
yeah,
And that's one of the things, although in my own case, I'm not rearranging the wires very often. So it's not really much of a problem. But for safety features, a full wave rectifier bridge might protect those nodes a little bit better. But they're going to drop, 1.2 volts off that, because there'll be 0.6 of volt off each diode in that bridge rectifier. So your voltage going to the nodes can be down by 1.2 volts.
okay.
And you might consider that you can buy a full wave bridge rectifier for a couple bucks at the most.
Yeah, right, okay.
And you would just have that on your layout to protect the nodes.
Roger.
So
Ray, I haven't seen you in a while. We used to see it when it was on a Saturday call all the time when you worked at Napa, right?
Yeah, that was I think one of the last times. No,
Okay.
Thursdays are fine. It's just I've been busy, that's all. I did a move in 1 month and I've just been
Okay.
busy. I'm now that I'm done with the move, I've been also updating people's engines into DCC and running. I went and did get the DCC EX command station, the single board.
Okay, cool.
So and then I've been researching with it, programming and unprogramming and upgrading different engines. Found out that Loc Sound and JMRI don't like each other.
Oh, okay.
Fun stuff like that. I love Tsunami 2 or Blue Nami. I've been updating a bunch of engines for a friend of mine in Iowa to Blue Nami, so that's been kind of fun. Go ahead.
So Ray, I need to ask you, because I have most of mine are Loc Sound, and I have a few Soundtrack, and I just added Proto Throttle, so I've been going back through everything. Why do you think that JMRI and Loc Sound don't play well together?
It actually states it in JMRI. I have one engine that I could not program.
Because the Keep Alive, yeah.
Or something else within it. I didn't see it Keep Alive when I tore it apart, but the second that I try and talk to it from JMRI, it would shut down. It would run for a split second and then shut down.
Okay, that's usually I have a problem where I have to sit on the programming track for a couple minutes before I can access it.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Because
that's good to
what
know.
happens? It starts charging up the Keep Alives,
Right.
and you can't program it.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Okay.
I don't have that. I don't think I have a Keep Alive in this Atlas.
Yeah,
One Atlas.
the thing I usually do, I use the lock sound programmer, and then I create a CV file, and then I import that into JMRI, which makes it a lot faster.
Yes.
Um, and then also, the main thing I use JMRI for, then I go in and have it read the serial number and all that other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the capability to categorize, or I don't know what you want to call it, have a locomotive list in a program. I mean, I have Excel or a spreadsheet of all the locomotives and all their conversion status sort of thing, but that's something different. I like to when I'm dealing with the DCC stuff, I like to see all the details that
Sure.
I can
Sure.
work with.
And then, like, I have a group, proto throttle, the ones that I've programmed to use for proto throttle go in the proto throttle group, and then the NCE ones that are configured differently go into a group I've called NCE, and that's nice. And then also those in those groups are I wish they had a subgroup that would tell you, okay, these are on the layout and these are in boxes in the closet, So I can use the Wi-Fi throttle and only see the locomotives that are actually on the layout, and whether they're proto throttle configured for or NCE, set up for. Anyway, yeah,
That's a nice idea. And I'm not against proto throttle because I want one. Right now, though, I've got phones. The interesting thing is that this guy in Iowa, he's still building his display in HO, and then I got one of his engines and did a Blue Nami upgrade to it. Pulled out the Athearn. Yeah, I think it was an MT-15. Pulled out the Athearn board and put in a Tsunami, or the Blue Nami board, and then upgraded his bulb lights to LED. So I went with the white, and then I had the soft white for a cab, and I'd have the cab come on along with cab sound at startup. So instead of engine starting up, those would do startup. So that way it doesn't draw a lot of noise in the room. And I mean, you can turn it off, shut the engine back down that way too after turning it on. And his famous comment was, "Ray, you've blinded me. I have a sunburn. I've got to wear sunglasses." I use the bright whites for the ditch and the main and the rear.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
I know where that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom was born and raised Boone.
Oh, sure. So the problem I have running lock sound locomotive and soundtrack locomotive in a consist is shutting down the soundtrack unit, because lock sound, you press F8 and the sound comes on, you release the F8 and it goes off. But the only way I've found on soundtrack, besides doing the mute, is you have to RPM minus.
Yes.
Brings it down, and that's kind of
it's a hassle.
Yeah. So normally what happens, I end up tipping the soundtrack unit on the a little bit to the side so it's no longer in contact with the rail, then it goes off. But I wish they had a better on off. Oh, also on the lock sound, if you double tap the F8, you'll change the volume.
Mm,
There's
that is all CV settings, I believe, still.
yeah, but it's automatic. There, I think there's 6 different levels.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep tapping F8, you're going to go through different levels of volume.
Right. So I ended up getting some Bachman track from my club, and I'm going to put together a POS system, a proof of or POC, excuse me, proof of concept system, because I'm going to automate and build 5 modules, 4 foot, yeah, I think they're all 4-foot modules, and run 3 RDCs on it, but yet be compatible with their track module system. And it's going to be interesting. Also, it gives me a capability to run proof of concept with cats also.
Well, guys, I've got to run. I ordered my dinner, and it's been sitting at the store for a while, so I need to go pick, because I forgot about this meeting, and as I was getting ready to head out the door, I realized and got on. So
don't you get the reminders in email?
Yeah, I've been getting them. Come pick it up.
It's a legitimate excuse to leave this chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everybody.
In my case, I'm supposed to be at a Bible study.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
everybody have a good month. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go myself. So you guys,
Okay.
good talk.
Hey,
Bye.
good to hear you there, Rob.
Yeah. See you. Thanks. We'll see you. See you, Rodney.
Yep. See you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a great night, Rodney. Good talking with you as always.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys
Hey,
take
Have
care.
a good month.
See
Thanks,
you,
you
Ray.
too.
You guys take
See
care.
you, Ray.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Ray, did you have any questions?
No, well, I've been watching UPRR Dave. I can't remember his last name right now. Dave Cruz.
Daryl Cruz.
Daryl
Yes.
Cruz. Excuse me. Yeah. Sorry, Daryl. I've got him on the big screen, and I saw a little bit, but I didn't understand what he was talking about totally. That he's changed, I guess, from JMRI doing the signaling, that he's now using cats.
Okay. I just picked that one up a couple days ago. I think he sent it out last week or something.
Right.
Yeah. I've
I know that
the owner of the Kranich route has been an acquaintance of Daryl's for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And I got a chance to meet Daryl last summer. He came through our area and he operated on the Kranich. But anyway, it looked like to me what he was doing, and well, when he operated, we got a chance to talk about cats and you got to see it in operation and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, what he was talking about is he was using Railroad and Company. I believe that's what it was. It wasn't JMRI.
Oh, okay.
It was something else. And
Right.
I think, and he went away from it, first of all, because it wasn't very prototypical. And second of all, because the updates were going to cost him an arm and a leg. He mentioned something about $700 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah. And, JMRI and cats are basically free, except for if you don't count your time getting them installed and working and stuff like that. So
Oh, well,
that's where
sorry.
he was. He's coming
Okay.
towards cats because it looks more
Okay.
like a real UP dispatcher panel,
Sure.
much more so than what he was using.
Okay.
And yeah, that was about the first 10 minutes of his video.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, so now I understand. Okay, now I feel better about going back and watching it.
And I haven't gone through the rest of it, but I think the rest of it was he's also doing something else. I think he was originally a Digitrack system and
Yes.
converting to Ecos, basically Look Sound. I
Yeah.
think that's who those guys are.
Right.
So it's a major swap out. It's the hardware and the software.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm going to build this POC so I can, have a better understanding. It's effectively a straight track with two switches, right and the left, and I'm going to block some of the straights so that way I have effectively I'll end up with 4 blocks, even though that I'm going to build 5 modules. The middle module I can't simulate because I don't have enough track space, and it's just going to be another station in the middle, and I can deal with that programming physically later. My end is can I get it to automate? I'm not going to use cats for the automation. I'm going to use cats for um, the signaling to see the signals, and whenever the switches change or the blocks, and so on and so forth,
Yeah,
and see the routes. And
yeah, I believe that'll work. I've heard of people doing that
right,
with JMR and cats. And the unfortunate thing is you basically have to build 2 panels, a cats panel and a JMRI panel.
yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. It's just that's just what the POC is for. So when I go to I haven't even got my father's layout yet out of California. So when I go to that layout, then I'll have a better idea of what equipment to actually augment to that layout. Um, the switches were electric switches from Bachman, but I saw a YouTube on pulling all the electronics and mechanicals out and putting in some other items like a Depot Valley DCC control, and then you just get a little sliding it's on the tip of my tongue. I hate it. Actuator anyway for changing the switch because they're small. They're real thin. They'll fit within the Bachman plastics. So I'm looking forward to doing that conversion here in another month, and building a 9-inch by 8-foot long proof of concept.
Yep.
I mean, once you got to take baby steps.
Yep.
Some of this, I mean, I love Daryl. He's already got it all built. Some of us aren't that far. So, but I'm looking forward to it. So that's kind of where we're at with the cats. And as soon as I get the track down and the wood built and all that. Also, I'm doing it as a proof of concept for the modules too, because they're 4-foot module with two main lines within the first 8 inches, and then from 9-inch to the 30-inch is all club member space, and I'm going to build a frame that you can drop in any style thing that you want, clamp it to that frame. I'll be using the furniture type clamps, and that way you can carry with you whatever modules you feel that you want to do, and they're all lightweight. And if you want to make an 8-foot 2-track section, then it's still lightweight, and drop two 4-foot modules in it. Things like that.
No, I'm totally in favor of that kind of a concept.
Yeah. And then even at home, you put it back together at home. You don't like that module, or you want to work on a different module, you pop that one out and just put that one in storage, pop the next one back in. So you're not using up a little space saving. And also, if you want to, what I'm also going to do is put a cleat wall in the train room, and on the cleats, I'm going to have it so that way I can actually hold a shelf unit, 16-inch shelf unit, sort of thing. Or is it 22-inch? I think it's 22. So that way you can, and then change its height, because you've got a cleat wall to change its height to do the service on it. So again, you're not taking up a lot of space. It's a another idea, thought, creating another proof of concept. So, what's new with you guys out there?
Oh, we're just waiting for winter to hit us.
Yeah, you ready?
We've had a great fall. It's been basically warm. Fortunately, it's been dry, and now it's time to start thinking about the winter activities, the train shows, and what you can do inside and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've got a train show on Saturday and Sunday out in Sacramento. So I'm going to go Saturday with a buddy, meet up with him, and then we'll catch up another guy, and then we all ride into Sacramento together. And International Rail Fair or something like that, or Rail Fair International. I don't know. I don't remember. It's out at the Sacramento Expo Center.
At where at?
Sacramento Expo Center in California.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was at NMRA was it 2011 was in Sacramento.
Okay. I can't tell you what I was doing in 2011 right now. That's a long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. No, anyway. Yeah, no politics today.
Yep.
So anyway, but no, we're going to go to that show, and then if I'm not careful, I might end up in Pleasanton in December at that show. That one I've done because I used to be part of the club down there in Pleasanton, California. There's the Great Train Show or something like that, the Great Train Swap. It seems like everybody's starting back up into train shows that have been put off since the 2020 shutdown.
Yeah, well, which is good. It's nice to have.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Nice to see everybody coming back out to it. So, tariffs and the industry, is its own nightmare and mess. So it's kind of nice to deal with the hobby with whatever we can. And I've niched into DCC stuff. In fact, I'm giving a clinic next week on DCC, what I have found and researched and grabbed onto and wish to impart. I've been actually against DCC for years, but that was in its infancy. When the prices were astronomical.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, why is my stuff all DC analog? Why don't I have LEDs in them? Why?
Yeah, and you can do, let's face it, you can get so much more functionality with DCC than DC.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, the consisting thing is cool, but I did it in DC. I happen to have about 3 Atherns that just happen to run just right, and that was my capability for a consist. And I had a long train with it too, weighted. But now it's like, okay, we can actually have DPU if I want.
Mm-hmm.
And so a buddy of mine handed me 5 engines and said, Ray, we're going to change these. No, we are not going to do it. Ray, you're going to change these. So he wants, I got to tear it apart tomorrow, so that way we know exactly what we're going to be ordering. Then another member of the club hands me 2 engines on Tuesday night meeting and says, can you fix these? One's got Paragon sound in it, and it doesn't want to work. It acts like the Lux sound. I mean, it starts up and then shuts down.
Hmm.
So I'm going to see if JMRI will talk to it and tell me what in the world's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have to take it apart and isolate and see if it operates again. And, go through all the, this is what I am as a systems engineer background, test engineer, whatever you want to call it. But I'm eager to see cats on one of my units. So now, does cats care what operating system platform? I forget.
No.
Okay, so we have a version then I can put on the Linux or the Pi unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only one version, and
Okay.
it's the Java that and JMRI that make it transparent. Cats has no idea what kind of operating system you're running.
All
And
right.
I've put it on. I've got a 4A, I think it is, or
Mhm.
4B. I think it's a 4A Pi, and that's one of my test vehicles.
I think either I got the 5 or another 4B. I forgot what I did.
Yeah, they're
Um,
nice little units.
yeah. I've got an old computer box that I've ripped out, the motherboard and everything, hard drives and all, and I've put in both the Raspberry and Arduino
Hmm.
Mega in it, so I can run DCCEX and JMRI on that unit at the same time. And also I've added meters, and dummy me didn't remember that I was running DCAC. That it's really DC and AC mode out there. And so the meter wasn't giving me a value that I could trust. One of those little $5 LED
Mm-hmm.
voltage and amperage meters. So I put that in there for both main and programming track, and then yeah, it's a cute little setup, and I just want it for all my railroad related stuff. The only thing I can't put on it is SCARM, because SCARM's Windows based.
Yeah, right.
So I do Windows, and I'll do that on the little laptop, and then on for the database stuff like um, Excel, I don't have to use Excel. I can use Google Docs over there on the Pi, and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I have helped a guy out who's working with the layout design sig on his web pages and stuff, and I put MySQL on my Raspberry Pi. It's pretty neat. Had full web server and all kinds of stuff.
ooh, yeah. That's when life really gets fun. Well, you know, it's only the two of us right now. I can run and take care of some things for the rest of the evening and then head off. I imagine where you're at, it's already way late.
No, it's only about 6:43, 6:40.
Well, you're only an hour off from me. Aren't
Yeah,
you? I'm
yeah,
in Nevada.
we're in Colorado.
You're a stone's throw away. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Actually, the timeline is at the other end of this state.
right.
That's why I said you're only a stone's throw away. Now it makes sense of why you went out to California. You're a
hmm
little bit longer than a stone's throw, but yes.
Yeah, that was an experience because we went through Nevada on the way and going over the Sierras. And I'm just thinking right now, you want to go over the Sierras at this time of the year? No.
I went. I go to Carson City for our club, and that's 100 miles, 108 miles on the short route for me to go to a club in Carson City. And so I'm looking at the mountains as I'm coming into Reno, and I'm going, okay, they got snow up there, but they're not snowing. It's not,
Right.
and so because I've still got to go out to California and resolve my dad's property. So, and then ran into somebody who had made a layout some 30 years ago and published a book about it and all. And unfortunately, he's got some Alzheimer's dementia issue, and he's okay-ish right now, but
hmm
it's a motor control thing. And
Yep.
all they want to do is just have a layout just to run the train around in circles.
Yep.
So that way it calms him and stuff and brings back those memories. She, the wife was telling me that they've got all of his rolling stock and everything in storage, and she's wondering how does she bring it to the house and display it or what. And I gave her a couple ideas that you can either put it this way on the wall or that way on the wall. It depends upon what you want to do. And then we've talked about storage cabinets and drawers and put them into a cabinet so that way you store it underneath the layout. And then I told her that when I had an N scale layout, I put it in the garage and I actually block and tackle lifted it up to the ceiling of the garage so that way I could get in underneath and do things. However, it stayed up there for me. It's like, and to bring it back down, put it back in the living room, dining room. But that's a different story for a different time. But yeah, no, I'm the Blue Nami, because my buddy in Iowa is turned on to that. I'm not turned off on it. It's just learning some of its capabilities and talking with George and seeing George's podcasts about it. This last podcast just made total sense of an installation. You go ahead and install Blue Nami. You do all the updates, all the CV programming in Blue Nami mode, and then take it over to your NCE system or your DCC system and run it in DCC.
hmm
And you're fine. If you want some of the features of Blue Nami because you have enough rolling stock for that, then great. But if you don't, you can still use it in both cases. So my buddy, what he did is that besides that one engine that I've already done, I've done another two for him. He's out of, so far it looks like it's going to be a total of 7 right now. There's another one in theory floating around that he wants to send me. So it'll be upwards of 8 engines that he's going to have me do. change him over to Blunami. So there, once I get my proof of concept and cats, I can tell his display system to go that way too.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Boone, Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Been there. Rode the train.
So did my mom and dad before they passed away. I haven't. I've been there, been to the station. I was visiting an aunt who was living there. Actually, I've been there when I was real little, but it wasn't train related. That was family. And then I went back there for a shot thing I was doing. I had no delivery in Boone. I was going by Boone with my delivery, and then I took my wife out there with me on a hot shot run, and we stopped in Boone, and family got to meet her, and we got to see family. And Grandpa was an engineer out of Boone on the steams besides the
Mm-hmm.
diesels, and then the rest of the family were either brakemen or conductors or other positions within the company. And that was old Chicago Northwestern days.
Yep.
So that's why I do CNNW. I do a family. And then, but the hobby store out there, I wanted to visit, but we just ran out of time. But I've called and also have ordered stuff from him, and then we became lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one I'm doing it for. Is a sidetrack hobbies out there. Oops, I did a blurb. So yeah. So yeah, he's got an HO. His daughter does N scale, and then they're talking about sending me 2 engines and doing Blunami in those.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, okay. I want to talk about no space.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens on that. That's about it.
Yep. That's about all I got too.
Yeah, it's just been life. Life's been busy.
Yep.
So, well, it's good talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for updating me on what Daryl was doing,
Sure.
because I do see his questions and stuff through the group.
Mm-hmm.
And I see others happening, and it's neat to see results, positive and the negatives.
Yeah.
Means
You
they're
get both.
learning. Yeah, you get both. You're learning. So pretty soon I'll be doing that too. All right. What did I miss, Rodney?
Okay.
Pretty soon.
Yep. Talk to you later.
All right. You too. Take care.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye.